Tanya Butler-Truesdale. She's our housing provider ombudsman, and I particularly wanted Tanya to come for a couple of reasons. One is that out of the list of questions, I did get a number of questions relating to the Rental Housing Act, which is like rental registration, rent control, tenant petitions, and so forth. Notices to vacate. I know nothing about that, so I'm going to defer to Tanya on that information so she can answer the specific questions that we got relating to the Rental Housing Act. And also just to make you aware that Tanya is another resource that you have, and also small housing providers have in the district government. The Office of Tenant Advocate was created to give tenants a resource to go in terms of, protecting their rights and having, getting information, training, protections if they have an unscrupulous landlord that's undertaking some bad conduct. Tanya's position was created to counter that, but it's kind of interesting because the Office of Tenant Advocate is an independent agency with a chief and a budget, and then we have Tanya. So she'll go into her role and the kinds of things that she can do. She can't advocate for housing providers, but she can at least give some guidance through the regulatory system. And so, if you can't get an answer out of my office or the Rental Accommodations Division, there's someone else that you can contact. She's very responsive. She goes out to brokerage houses, but I'll let her elaborate on what she's doing. She also passed out a handout with information about her role and her functions. I also have another colleague with me, please stand, Ivy Barnett from my office. Ivy just started with us about 3 weeks ago, so she just started. She's one of our program attorneys. So she's not quite up to speed on TOPA, but she's taking a lot of initiative and asked me to come today so she could learn some more and also get some face time with her clients. So one of the things that I've given you all is I gave you an outline about TOPA because I found that folks like a little reference guide and takeaway. I'm not going to spend a lot of time going over this, but it does give an outline of the statute. I have some tips in here. I have the timeline for TOPA. That's a question I get all the time. So it starts on page 7. So I broke down, I made a little timeline, so I have a little bit of a chart or a graphic that can help you. I think that, another thing is my agency has classes, the agency does, but we're part of the Housing Regulation Administration. I'm going to go over how that all works in a minute, but we have classes that we give on a monthly basis on rental housing regulation. So we do TOPA. One of the things my office administers is conversion of use of property to condo or co-op ownership. And then also facets of the Rental Housing Act. So we have an upcoming class next week on notices to vacate. And what's the second class?
The second class is the TOPA for tenants, nuts and bolts of notices to vacate.
So I try to alternate enough with you with TOPA for tenants, TOPA for realtors. They're basically the same class, except for they're just tailored a little bit differently. If you can't make the TOPA for realtors one, come to the TOPA for tenants one. It's not that vastly different. So, and if you want to, if you're interested in signing up to be on our, on our outreach list, we have a calendar. I've given you the name of, on the front page, her name is Pamela Hillsman Johnson. She's our senior outreach coordinator. And Pam, if you get, she has a listserv, and so she'll send out notices of, when there are upcoming classes. And I think not only just for Housing Regulation Administration, but also other areas of DHCD that you might be interested in or your clients may be interested in. So just to give you a little bit of an overview, I've given you all of the contact information for the Housing Regulation Administration, including our new director who was just appointed I guess the first week of January with the incoming new mayoral administration, Polly Donaldson. She's an acting director at this point because I think she hasn't been confirmed yet. And actually, the mayor came by yesterday and met with all of us. She came through the whole agency and did a walkthrough. The interim rent administrator, Keith Anderson, if for your rental housing registration or rent control questions. I've also included, I don't know how you get down in the weeds on this, but inclusionary zoning. You may be selling inclusionary zoning or affordable dwelling units. Leslie Edmond is the manager of that program, and then Tanya, who I just introduced. I also have my staff's names and contact numbers. So if you can't get hold of me directly with your TOPA questions, they're all quite knowledgeable. So the Housing Regulation Administration is comprised of several divisions, and I've given you a breakdown of that. It's my office, which is the Rental Conversion and Sale Division, the Rental Accommodations Division, the Housing Resource Center, which we've tried to create as a one-stop kind of information source for stakeholders to come in to get information about our rental housing programs and other agency programs as well. Tanya's office, and then the Rental Housing Commission is also part of the Housing Regulation Administration. They're the appellate body for tenant petitions that come from the rent, or landlord petitions that come from the rent administrator, the Office of Administrative Hearings. They're not at DHCD, they're a separate independent tribunal down at 441 4th. I doubt any of you will really have any contact with them unless you are landlords yourselves and when you end up on a dispute matter. But I just wanted to make you aware that they're part of the Housing Regulation Administration. One program that I do want to make you aware of that we have that may be of interest to your clients is we try to match up rental units with landlords, or tenants with rental units, I should say, I'm sorry. And so we have a search service called dchousingsearch.org, and that it's a search service. So if you have landlords that are looking for tenants, that's one way for them to list their property. If you want to just send out that information to your clients. And I mentioned about outreach, and I also gave you the breakdown of what the different divisions do. So basically my office, TOPA is only one of several programs that my office administers. We administer 2 acts for the district. One is the Rental Housing Conversion of Sale Act, of which TOPA is one provision in the entire act. So there's TOPA, which is the Tenant Opportunity to Purchase Act. There's also, we're going to talk a little bit today about the District Opportunity to Purchase Act, which has the unfortunate acronym of DOPA. And then we also administer the registration and structural defect warranty requirements under the Condominium Act of 1976. So we have a lot of work, and I have a small staff. For the kinds of things that we do our best to be responsive, to get back to you, just be patient with us, I guess, if you don't, get something you need right away, but we will, get back to you. So let's see. So in terms of, does everyone understand what TOPA is? Yeah, we're good, good. So I guess I'll delve into the questions that Caitlin sent me. Let's see. One of the questions was, could you please go over DHCD's mission statement as it relates to TOPA and let DCAR know how to obtain it? I don't think we have one. But DHCD's mission statement is to, promote affordable housing, and TOPA and DOPA are considered to be big key tools, essential tools to achieving affordability, home ownership, affordability, and opportunity for the district. So, that's a good question. I can bring that up to my manager. Maybe we need to sit down and actually craft one. But there isn't a formal one other than, TOPA. If tenants are served with TOPA and they're interested in buying their building, our agency has loan programs available for tenant purchase, such as I always say we're the TOPA regulatory side. There's also a TOPA finance side for buildings of 5 or more units where tenants can apply for loans to purchase their buildings. And then we also have the HPAP program, which I'm sure you're all familiar with as well. So DOPA is also considered key. It's becoming up more and more as an issue. DOPA allows the mayor to have an opportunity to purchase certain types of 5 or more rental unit buildings. And DOPA is going to also being, now that there's money available in terms of, there's been an influx of funds put into my agency, DOPA is becoming more and more to the forefront of a chance for the mayor to exercise the opportunity to purchase and create some more affordable housing opportunities for district residents.